what is a gel plate? This is it. It's a reusable, synthetic, durable material. It's made to be reused. It creates monoprints, unique monoprints, and it's just a lot of fun. You need one if you haven't already got one. They come in all different shapes and sizes. I've got this like long, thin one. There's different brands. We've got a little round one. You can get really quite large gel plates. There's all sorts. And they're just, yeah, I'm going to teach you how to look after them so that they last. They can last for years if you look after them properly and condition them. And it's not difficult. Don't be scared of a gel plate. It's not some weird special thing. They're just really easy to use art products that I'm just going to teach you the best way to care for them. It's a very versatile product. It can be used with acrylic paints, with watercolours, with Posca pens. You can clean it easily with soap and water. You can condition it with baby oil to keep it in the best of condition. It's slightly tacky to touch when it's right. If it gets too dried out, then yeah, you need to condition it. But like I said, that's rubbing baby oil in, so it's very, very simple to do. We're going to talk about how to use the gel plate in its most basic form. So I'm going to start out and show you what you need to start off. So we've got a gel plate. You want a brayer or a roller. Any type will do. You can see I don't really clean mine very often. They're well used, but we'll use one of these. Let's grab that one, and we're going to use some paint. Now, the most common paint on a gel plate is acrylic paint, but obviously that's not the only thing you can use. There's lots of mediums, but that's in the course itself. So we're just going to show you this examples with acrylic paint. Now, one of the most common mistakes people make is using too much or too little paint. So how much is too much? So I'm just going to put some paint here on this gel mat. Now this is too much. Now it's very hard obviously for you to see. You can just see 3 blobs. But as I put this on, you can see that you can see all the texture in it and the lines. There's too much paint. It's just, and it means that your brayers, it slips and slides around on it. You shouldn't be able to do all this with it. There's just too much paint there. So I'm going to use a piece of kitchen towel. We'll just pop these ones out of the way. I'm going to use a piece of kitchen towel to wipe off the excess off the brayer. And I'm going to start to take it down. So ideally, we don't want to use this much paint because we're just technically wasting paint. Now obviously I'm doing this for the video. I'm going to just grab some of my tissue paper and I'm going to pop that on and create a background. So if nothing else, I'm not wasting the paint, it's just creating a background. But you can see how much paint's on there, there's a lot. So what we're trying to achieve, we don't want too little paint because if there's too little, it will dry too fast and you'll not be able to do anything with it. What we want is paint to be, it's the Goldilocks technique. Not too much, not too little, just the right amount. So too much paint is a no, too little paint is a no because it's going to dry too quickly. You want it to almost look and feel like suede. So you can almost see through the mat. You can sort of see the background behind whatever's behind it, but there's enough that you can actually work in it. And you can hear. There's a gentle noise. It's not the slicky, slurpy, horrible noise that when there's too much paint on. And that's your gel mat ready for a pull. So if I pull this paint that I've got on now, got my tissue creased up, never mind. You can see that's a much better amount of paint than that. This is way too much paint, way too heavy, whereas this is really nice. Now, I'm also going to just mention that as you do a pull, when you've got paint left like that on the mat, you can do more pulls, and these are known as ghost prints. So we can just pop that and just keep pulling. So no matter how many layers you've done, you wouldn't necessarily do this with a background layer, but just showing you that actually it will just keep going. And all I would do with these is use these as a background for something else I'm going to do. But that way I'm not wasting any of the paint. So you see it's still going. That's 4 prints in and I've still got a background. That's how much paint you want to use on it. I've got lots of pieces of paper now with green paint on. Fantastic. It's a good time to show you how to clean the mat. So you can use a soft damp cloth. You want things without any lint or fibre because you'll end up with hairs on the mat. So you want something that's not going to shed. I've just got a piece of cloth here, a little bit like you'd use to clean some glasses or that kind of thing. And I'm just going to show you with some baby oil. And you can literally, oh, she says moving that. Just clean this off. And you can see how it really does actually get to it and clean. A wet wipe is quicker, but this is more thorough. And I wanted just to show you this because this also, if you use your gel plate a lot, it will actually condition your gel plate. A gel plate has mineral oil in it. And you'll see that if you leave it, I mean, I don't know if you can see that, there's a shadow next to this where it's been sat. And it leaves oil residue wherever you put it. So never put it on anything delicate that's of any importance to you because it will leach a bit of oil out. Well, baby oil is mineral oil and it will replace some of that you've lost. So that's how it conditions it. You're just putting some oils back into the mat. It brings back the tacky. If your mat gets very dry and it kind of stops feeling like a gel mat, then pop a bit of baby oil on and just rub it in. And that's all you've got to do. I wouldn't do that before you start using it. I wouldn't put oil on and then immediately start adding paint because it will bead up. It will create a problem for you. So kind of do this maybe at the end of a session. When you're cleaning it off, rub some baby oil into it and then you get a nice clean mat for the next time that you come to use it. And it'd be nice and touchy-feely. If you have an incident with your mat where you've got some dents in it or something like that, you can use baby oil again. Pop paper either side of the mat and put some heavy, obviously bigger than the gel plate because you don't want a dent halfway through your mat, something heavy on top of it, 48 to 72 hours, and that will get rid of the worst of the dents, if not all of it. Just remember, you're not going to use sharp tools on a gel plate. That's not going to help it. It's delicate. I mean, it's delicate to a point. Obviously, it's not going to fall to pieces in my hands. But you don't want anything sharp or abrasive that's going to damage the smoothness of the plate because obviously that will affect the quality of the prints that you will do. A lot of commonly asked questions with the gel plate. When you pull back paper, some of the paper stays. It remains on the plate. It sticks, almost like separates a layer of paper and gets stuck. It's because your plate is either too dry or you've left your paper on too long and let it stick to the paint. It's got nowhere to go. It absorbs into the paper. It all sticks together and it just becomes a mess. Same token, you use too much paint. That's really not going to help you either. So you really do want to practice getting just the right amount of paint so you get that nice smooth velvety texture. Remember that nice suede feel. Another question, is there any paper that you shouldn't use when pulling a print? Yes, there is. Things like watercolour paper that's really textured, that's not going to work because the texture means you will lose some of the print. Another paper you want to avoid is something like the photo paper, which has a glossy film on the top. The film will come off and it can end up damaging your pad. So don't use glossy photo paper. However, you can use, so I use a lot, the extra strength tissue paper. You can use ordinary copier paper. You can use Yupo paper. You can use cardstock. There's lots of things you can use. Just avoid the watercolour textured paper and the glossy photo paper, I think, are the main ones. Rice paper is another one you can use. So there's lots you can use. An experiment to see what you like best. Can I cut my gel plate into smaller pieces? So if you want more than one so you can work on different projects, yes you can. But we'd recommend you cut it with scissors rather than a craft knife. It's too stretchy to cut with a craft knife and you'll end up with a real wavy edge, where a pair of scissors you'll be able to control where you're cutting much, much better. Now, if your gel plate gets stained, Posca pens are known for it, they're renowned for it. I'm going to get, actually, let's show you. because this was a relatively clean mat. So let me get you a not so clean mat. So I have one here, and you can see through it there is some gel pen staining, and you can see there's colours that have got stuck on it, so it's quite a dirty gel plate really as things go. It's not infringing on any prints I will pull. This is not going to come off any prints, but not everybody likes to have that kind of mess. So we're going to go in with this. This is a great candidate for some baby oil. That lint-free cloth. And you can see straight away that's moved away that print of the person. And you can see it's starting to take away the staining. So soapy water will take away, if it's fresh paint that you've just put on, it'll take probably 95% of it off. This is a plate that's been used an awful lot. I think I use it pretty much throughout the duration of the course and haven't really sat down and cleaned it properly, because I don't mind colours coming from one plate print to another. But this is now due for a good clean and a bit of a recondition. I'm only pressing on very gently because obviously we don't want to mark it. But you can see already how it's got rid of the actual stains. There's some little bits here that just need a soapy water to take off. But you can see from that already how much better that is. Gel mats come normally within a case, and they have pieces of plastic on either side. Now you might think that's a great way to store it, but what you'll see, I'll move this one out of the way a moment, is that actually it creates air bubbles between them when you pop these back on. Now these air bubbles will create dents in your gel plate. So it's actually better to store these with paper on either side, because when you put it on paper, there's no air bubbles. And all that will happen is a little bit of this oil will leach out, which if you're going to use baby oil or whatever regularly, then it's not going to be an issue for you at all. Another thing with your gel plates, don't wash them every time that you use them. You'll dry them out far too quickly. They don't need that. So we don't keep them. Can you see straight away, I don't know if you see that on the camera, how there's air bubbles straight away between these two sides of the plastic. So again, like I say, much better. Keep it out, put paper on both sides, not something rough, sugary paper. You want something, a nice smooth paper or cardstock that's thick enough not to stick to it and leave loads of paper on it. You don't want that. If that did happen, soapy water will remove it. The other thing is, when you store a gel plate, obviously on this side it's not so much of an issue, but if you've got one of the big gel plates, don't store it on its end. Store it flat wherever you can, and preferably in a drawer or somewhere so it's out of daylight. Certainly not in direct sunlight, don't store it. Don't store it near a radiator. We're not trying to dry it out, we're trying to keep it moist, and we're trying to keep it sort of in a darkened place. You can still use the packaging it comes in, the plastic case, but just like I say, paper on either side, pop it in its case, seal it up, leave it flat in a drawer or somewhere, but somewhere that you're not going to forget that you've got it, and use it. Can you use oil paints on a gel plate? Yes, you can. You can use oil pastels. You can use chalk pastels. There's many different, there's fairly, really, I don't think there's any mediums you can't use on a gel plate. You just need to do them in different ways. Now, we're not doing oil paints and chalk pastels in this course. It's going to extremes, but there are ways you can do it. So if that's something you want to look into after you've done the course, then by all means, it is something that is possible. How can I clean my brayers? Well, obviously, mine have not been looked after fantastically well just recently. They've done a lot of work on this course, and they're all looking a little bit tired and worse for wear. So mine are due to be cleaned. So we're going to use some rubbing alcohol, and you're literally going to soak a lint-free bit of cloth, and you're going to wrap it around the brayer. And then you're going to wrap tin foil around that to stop it, what's the word I want, going, preventing from going, to keep it on there, basically. Don't let it dehydrate and dry out. And then leave it on for a few hours, and when you take it off, you better wash the roller off, and all the paint will peel off and come off, and you'll have a lovely clean roller like new again. So if you don't get results that you're happy with when you do pulls, if they're not coming off nicely, just remember you need to apply a nice even pressure as you pull the paper up. you're pulling it steadily and gently. You're not ripping it up from a corner or ripping it fast. You're going to go nice and steady and just peel the paper off in a nice, even, I know it's exciting, you want to see what's on the other side, but then a nice, even, steady pull. You'll get much better results. So that's another thing to remember when you're doing this. It'll all make sense as you start to do it. Don't let any of these do's and don'ts put you off. They're aimed at helping you before you start, so you understand your gel plate a little, and don't worry about what you might do to it. You can't break it, really, unless you get something very sharp and gouge it. It even self-heals to a degree, so little creases and cracks will give it a bit of baby oil. It will heal itself for the best part of things. There's really very little you can do wrong with it. The best thing I can say is experiment, try things, try everything. Try everything. There's no right and wrongs with it. Play, enjoy, and have so much fun with it, and make some beautiful papers, and just enjoy it. See you soon.